that pretty much what you expected?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you never know kind of quite how they're going to play out. You can't script it. And, you know, you got another team out there who's obviously got some talented players, and they got a lot of pride. And, you know, we got off to a good start. And then, you know, we kind of hit a little bit of lull there at the end of the first half. It cake carried to the start of the second half, and then we kind of fixed it. And that's how games go. I mean, there's just not – it's not 40 minutes of positive things where every possession you're feeling great about. So, you know, I love it when we get a little bit of adversity because, you know, adversity and struggle are great teaching tools.
Is that the kind of aggressiveness you want from Azulis this season?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. You know, I mean, I think he's got to temper it on defense a little bit, and you know, you can't go for a steal every time they pass the ball to your guy. Maybe every other time. So I think he's just got to kind of tone that down, and you know, because there's a beauty in being aggressive and taking the fight to somebody, and there's also beauty in understanding, you know, that it's okay to be solid, you know, at some points as well, and we need a good mix of both those things.
You guys are replacing a Defensive Player of the Year, Christian Coloco, and then Dalen Terry on defense as well. But you look at that starting lineup defensively, what is the potential of Courtney Ramey?
I mean, I think it's great, and it needs to be great. You know, I mean, you know, we had some great individual defenders last year, but you know, a lot of it was they defended within the team concept and they did their jobs, and that's what I tell you guys. You know, we don't have a defense where they need to make up their own rules, and you know, we have a very sound approach to how we defend, and you know, you're not going to pitch shutouts in basketball. And so I think we just need to, you know, kind of clean some things up a little bit. And I mean, I felt some things happening over the course of that game that I think should be pretty easy fixes. And there are things that have been taught, but there's this great thing in sports called game slippage. And you get out there on the court and you have to account for it as a coach because, you know, not everything you tell the players they're going to absorb. And so that's what makes coaching, you know, a little bit more of an art than a science. And so, you know, I look forward to, you know, breaking down that film and trying to help the guys.
How deep do you think you could go realistically?
I mean, we'll see. You know, here's the deal. I let you guys are the experts. I let you guys set the limitations on my team. And, you know, because I don't set any limitations. And I'm going to let it play out in front of me, and I'm going to make what I think are the best decisions to win basketball games. And, you know, I'm not a guy that sits around at night and, you know, gets out my protractor and a ruler and 3 different color pens and says, you know, well, if you play him 16.4 minutes, he can play. I don't do that. So I coach off gut. I coach off instinct. I coach off what my eyes are telling me. And so I don't know. I think we got good, talented young players, and I want them to fight for it a little bit, but I'm hopeful they can all help us a little bit this year.
What did your eyes tell you about Adama?
He was aggressive, you know. I mean, you know, I think he had 2 ball handling errors. You know, that stood out to me. Adama also has a good feel for the game, so now I think he's just he's a young player who, you know, his maybe kind of his feel for the game has carried him a little bit, and now he's, you know, being a little bit more of an alpha dog and playing a little bit more of a physical style because he's growing up. Now he's just got to find a good mix between being aggressive on offense and also making plays for others.
That Cedric could fill the role of what Pella was for you guys last season, coming off the bench and being a versatile player. Can you just talk about his performance today and what you see out of him?
I mean, I've said it all along. Cedric's a really good player. I mean, I'm extremely comfortable with him. You know, I was excited to actually see him in a game setting today. And, you know, I think when these games start to open up and there's a little more flow to him, I think he's a really unique player. And we saw some of that today. You know, some of the decisions, you know, the floaters he was able to kind of hit on and off the ball screens, getting out in transition with some of those finishes and things like that. So, you know, I mean, I'd love to see a little more offensive rebounding and just overall rebounding tenacity from him, but we'll get that out of him. I mean, he's done it some in practice, and I think we just need to kind of hone it in and kind of tighten up some of that game slippage.
Comments on Courtney Ramey's suspension and what you guys are planning on doing for the first 3 games?
We plan on playing our asses off, you know, regardless of who's playing. And, you know, Courtney, you know, was involved in a situation that had nothing to do with us. And you know, the NCAA has rules, and, you know, they feel like it violated one of their rules that warranted a 3-game suspension. So, you know, there it is. I'm not the guy that's up here I'll let you guys complain about the NCAA. I don't complain. I just look forward. It's going to be a great opportunity for our team, and I'm going to make a positive out of it.
How much better has Ballo become?
I mean, a lot. I mean, you just see, you know, his his poise, and just a little more his body control, his his effort, just the maturity on some of those things. He had a tip in he missed today, and I didn't say anything to him. But then he had a couple passes late where he caught those high-low passes, which are tough. Those are over-the-shoulder catches with guys are, somebody's leaning on you, somebody's coming from underneath. He caught him, kept him high, took his time, laid him in easily with his left hand, where maybe, a younger baller would have felt like he had to try to go up and dunk that, and, it wouldn't have turned out good. So I just love the maturity he's showing, and I think he's developing into a really good basketball player, and I think he's gotten himself to a level now where there's some simple steps he can take that'll make him much more effective. But he's so close to those. I'm excited.
You guys went to kind of like all new freshman lineup. How do you think they performed out there? It seemed like
well, obviously not great, but that's a good thing. I mean, I told him like I'm probably the wrong guy for charity minutes. Because I think giving a guy charity minutes is really literally being disrespectful to him because I'm not holding him to a high enough standard. I told him, there's an Arizona basketball standard and there's my standard, and you got to meet both of them. And they're both really high. And once you do that, you're going to become a hell of a player. And so, I mean, that was the messaging to them. I mean, I'm not yelling at them. I love them. I don't think anyone needs to tell them that they didn't play great. And, hopefully next time they get the opportunity, they'll be a little better prepared.
You had 24 turnovers you forced, but obviously some mistakes. Did you overall, you talked about Zoo, but overall, do you think this is aggressive? You want this team to be that aggressive? Or?
Well, I mean, I don't think you're going to create 24 turnovers a game. That's not going to happen. But, of course, we're going to be aggressive defensively. I mean, you saw us play last year, right? And I ain't going to back it off and be conservative. Conservative ain't my nature, Bruce. Sorry, buddy. I'm going for it.
If you might, if you saw some potential in this group to maybe be a little more aggressive.
Listen, we play an aggressive style no matter who we have. And so if we were playing the zone, we'd play it aggressive. And so now we just got to get better. We got to get better and you can be aggressive and solid. Those two things can go together. So we just gotta show them some of the mistakes they're making on film. They got to be open-minded and learn from them. We got to get on the practice floor. We got to drill it. I've got to hold them accountable. They've got to hold themselves accountable, and then we'll get better.
Your thoughts on how Kerr played?
Kerr's been great. I think Kerr's, Kerr and I obviously have a great understanding of what he means to this program. And I think, he's kind of taken a little bit of a wait-and-see attitude and kind of let others kind of, get themselves comfortable. Because, I think we all know Kerr's 2 consecutive made threes in a row from being rolling. So, that'll happen. And so, yeah, he and I will continue to have conversations. But Kerr's my guy, and I love how he plays, and I think he's going to have an incredible year for us.
Going back to the aggressive defense, you guys track tip passes at all? Is that something you keep track of?
Yeah, we have guys that look at deflections for sure. That's something we check. But I can't tell you how many we had tonight.
Do you have a plan already for who would start instead of Courtney, or is that going to be?
We'll figure it out. I don't think there's going to be any major surprises. There's going to be no games played. I think Courtney's earned a starting spot, and just unfortunately he can't those first 3 games. So we'll adjust.
Even if you say go with Seth or whatever, does it affect your deeper in your rotation? Like, do you think you'll give Kylan a few more minutes if he can handle it, or anything else?
Listen, Kylan's literally practiced Division I basketball for a week, so I know how good he is. I love the kid, but I'm also the first one to temper the expectations because you guys sometimes get out ahead of yourself. Kids go on whatever the stuff they go on to read this stuff, and then they start feeling bad about themselves. The kid's 17 years old. He's going to be a hell of a basketball player. Could be an all-time great here. But just let's give him a little bit of time, and let's let it happen organically.
Watching Henry tonight, it looked like you could see the glimpses, but also looked like he needs to get stronger. Would you agree with that?
Yes. He's Henry actually is strong. He's weight room strong. He's twitchy. He could change directions, which are some elite things for a big kid, with his body type. He just got to get under the lights and get a little more comfortable and figure out, where he can find his balance, where he can find his explosion, and a little bit just playing in the U.S. He's literally played a scrimmage, 2 scrimmages, and 1 game against a Division II team in his U.S. basketball career. So he would never played AAU. He's never played a high school game. So I think you just got to give him a little bit of time.
Mayor, you were concerned about the big guys and turnovers in the red-blue game, other than Henry, or were you okay with?
I mean, I'll have to go back and watch the film. I thought there were times where they missed each other, in some of our early high-low actions that we could have taken advantage of. And, I don't think they were looking, would be my guess. But, or if they looked and they weren't comfortable forcing the pass, good on them. But, listen, big guys are going to turn the ball over in our system. But that's it. But you can't have it both ways. You can't involve your big guys, have them touch the ball, put them in situations and where they're catching passes in tight windows, and expect them to play perfect without turnovers. It's part of the deal, and obviously we try to mitigate it. But I also understand it's part of the deal, and I also understand if they hang with us, they become pretty good basketball players.
Thoughts on Benedict Mathurin and his hot start in the NBA?
I mean, Ben's off to a great start. Ben has a real fire that burns in him. He's got a real internal confidence, and what I love about his confidence is it's earned, and that guy puts time in, and I think he's really become passionate about the game of basketball and passionate about learning and playing it better, and you can see he's trending in the right direction. I think he's again 6-7 games into a long NBA season, and so let's just hope he keeps it up, but let's also understand that it's a long season and he's a rookie. There's probably going to be some ups and downs, but super proud of him, and we love him.
And Adama was just talking about the impact that he had on him last year in practice. What did you see from last year?
Yeah, I mean, Adama did a good job. Adama really big brothered him the whole year. I mean, you had 2 French speakers, and Adama was Kylan last year. Adama was 17 years old, and obviously you guys are seeing Adama's making some progress. I mean, I thought his first 2 threes looked great today. His third one didn't look good, but he got fouled on it. So he easily could have had a few more baskets. But to see him be that aggressive, and hopefully he'll get a little bit of confidence, it's a positive for us.
What were your thoughts on the team's transition defense tonight?
I mean, I'll have to go back and watch the film. Probably was far from perfect. Obviously, the one possession that sticks out to me is we had nobody offensive rebound, and they threw it over the top to their backup big, and he dunked it. So I'm sure, obviously the effort was poor that possession.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good one.